I have too many dice? That's what no Dungeons and Dragons player ever said in this lifetime.
But then, where do I store my dice?
After multiple attempts at creating the perfect, easy pattern for a dice bag, I finally did it. A drawstring bag with a flower shape on top that looked like it held fairy dust. To begin with, let's choose our materials. You'll need one skein of yarn. I chose this acrylic one. And then you need a hook of the size indicated for your yarn. You also need scissors. I have these crochet ones. This was accidental.
No elf was armed in the production of this video.
Then you'll also need tapestry needles to weave in your cord or thread your beads, a stitch marker. I'm completely not flexing on the fact that mine is a heart. Then you can choose between pendants, beads, a different cord, whatever you want to accessorize your bag with. I will be following the pattern which is available on my Patreon right now. Because I believe everyone should know how to do a magic ring, let me try to teach you. So first you're going to wrap the yarn like it is a cross, like you're going to do a bow. If you're familiar with that, it is rather similar. Insert a hook through the loop on your fingers and pull the loose strand. I'll do it again so you can see. You insert it, you pull what's loose, what's attached to the yarn, you rotate it, and now you're going to yarn over and pull through. I did it rather loosely here, so I'll redo it tighter. Listen, I cannot swim and I cannot drive. If you can do either of those things, you can definitely do a magic ring, I promise. To begin our dice bag, we'll have to work 6 single crochets into the magic ring. I don't know if you can tell, but at this step I might have already regretted the choice of yarn. I would go for something softer that would slide through easier if it's one of your first projects. I don't trust my counting skills, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches into the magic ring. And then you pull the tail so we close the ring a little bit. Then we have to slip stitch into the first stitch of our row. We insert a hook into that V, and then we pull the yarn through it, and then through the loop that's on the hook. And then you just have to chain 1. Let's get started into our second row. Going to start with that exact stitch where you just slip stitch. In case you're wondering, the chain 1 will not be counting as a stitch. We will be increasing with half double crochets on every single stitch, which will add up to 12 stitches at the end of this round. I will be meeting you at the end of the round. And if all went according to plan, we shall have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 stitches. And we will be slip stitching into the first stitch of the row to finalize it. Now we will be chaining 1, and in this row we will be doing half double crochet on the first stitch, on the same one we just slip stitched, and then we will be increasing on the next stitch, which again just means adding 2 half double crochets into the same stitch. We will be repeating this pattern across the whole row, so I'll meet you at the end of it. You shall have 18 stitches at the end of this row. A little advice for counting: a half double crochet will look like an I if it's only 1, while an increase, so 2, will look like a V. This will make it so much easier in case you miscounted and you want to see where maybe you put an extra stitch or you didn't put the extra stitch, so you don't have to frog the entire row. So with our 18 stitches done on this row, let's slip stitch into the first stitch so we can begin the next ones. Without forgetting your chain 1, you'll now do a half double crochet as your first stitch on this row. And then you'll do another half double crochet on the next stitch, and then we'll do our increase. So in this row, you do half double crochet, increase, so on, so on, so on, until the end of the row. I will be adding a stitch marker just to make it easier, because by this point, you can start to get lost. At the end of this row, you shall have 24 stitches. Now let's remove our stitch marker and insert our hook into the first stitch so we can do our slip stitch and chain 1, and throughout the next 3 rounds, so round 5, 6 and 7, we will be only doing half double crochets around. If you wish that your bag is a little less round and it is a little taller, you can add more rows into this step. At the end of each row, you should still have 24 stitches. After our 7th row, we're going to slip stitch and then do our chain 1 and get ready for our row number 8, which will start with a half double crochet, and then we place our stitch marker, then another half double crochet, and now we will be doing a decrease half double crochet. So how this will work, you're going to insert a hook into the front loop of the next 2 stitches. So first one and then the second one, and then you're going to pull through, and then you're going to have to yarn over again and pull through the remaining loops on your hook. So the pattern for this row, it is a half double crochet in the first 2 stitches, and then you decrease in the next 2 stitches. By the end of this, you should have in total 18 stitches. So now we'll slip stitch and then we chain 1, and we are ready for round 9. On this round, we'll only do 1 half double crochet, and then we'll move into 1 invisible half double crochet decrease. You shall repeat this pattern 6 times throughout this row until you reach 12 stitches. Now we are officially done with our decreasing stage, so now we'll slip stitch, and instead of chaining 1, we will be chaining 2. So we're basically going to be doing a mesh stitch, alright? So we'll start our half double crochet the same way as usual, but we're going to be skipping a stitch. So we won't put our hook through the first next stitch, we'll be putting it into the second next. Then we'll chain 1 and skip that one and go into the next one. You'll repeat these steps of chaining 1 and half double crocheting while skipping until the end of the row, where I'll show you what you have to do. We're at the end right now, so we'll chain 1 and then we'll slip stitch into that first square that we created. And look how cute our bag looks so far. To work on the top part that will basically look like a flower, we will start with a single crochet into that square, that mesh square that we did, followed by a half double crochet into the same hole, a double crochet, we'll now chain 2 double crochet again, half double crochet, and single crochet, and that's our first petal done. You'll have to repeat this sequence around until you have either 5 or 6 petals. Why do I say 5? If you only want one string, I think it would look cuter if you just tie it up in the front and you'd have more space. But if you just want a drawstring effect, having the 6 will look a little better, a little bit more symmetrical. Since I'll be doing the drawstring method, which just means I'll be having 2 opposite-sided strings that I can pull and it will close the bag, I'll be doing the last part. Again, you do a single crochet, half double crochet, a double crochet, you chain 2, and then you do a double crochet, a half double crochet, and a single crochet. Now we have to cut the remaining yarn because we're going to weave in the ends. If you didn't work around the initial yarn, you should now weave in that one and the top one. In this case, I'll be trying to weave in through the top part since we have basically 6 stitches to work with, so usually 1 petal or 2 should just be fine. Now I'm going to measure how much yarn we'll need. You can also make a cord or get a different type of string for this. In this case, I just wanted to use the same one since I would be using beads. Then we have to thread it. And with your tapestry needle to help you, all you have to do is weave in under a stitch, then over a stitch, then under a stitch, and then over a stitch, all throughout round 10. I usually just leave 1 half double crochet between the beginning and the end of each string. And now, if you don't want to do the drawstring method, if you just want to tie a bow or something on the front, that would be it for you. But if you want to do the drawstring, you just have to do exactly the opposite of what we just did, but on the other side. In my case, I will be using beads, so to add them in the strings, I only use 2. I will be inserting both ends of each side into the needle and then just sliding it through the needle. It's much easier than just wasting your time trying to put the bead through both of the strings. Trust me, I tried that. Also, while tying the knot, make sure the bead will not come out of it. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please consider liking it and subscribing, and don't forget, the return pattern is available on my Patreon. A special thank you to my patrons for their amazing support. I will be seeing you in your next adventure, traveler.